Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you in another video. Alright, so walking down the street about a block and a half away from the train station, and felt like turning on the camera again. I just got to doing my Zigzag video. I encourage you guys to go check that out. Concept came to me while I was meditating this morning about how to be more independent of energies that I've been dependent on from others, given the fact that some of those energies will not be returning, it seems, or won't be returning in a way that I would filter it the same way or look at it and feel it the same way. You know, you gotta learn how to live without certain people and certain things that they do or what have you. So that's what it is that the Lord is trying to teach me how to do, and I came up with something that I think could be very effective if done correctly in regards to my energy. So that's what Zigzag is about. I encourage everybody to check that out. But yeah, man, just feeling good. Felt like getting out of the house. Didn't quite have a destination, as I usually don't. I probably should be looking for a place to stay in my natural mind. Probably won't be able to find nothing given the fact that it's Thanksgiving time. But, you know, just felt like rolling with the spirit. I wanted to definitely get out the house and have that concept be immortalized on this camera. Glad it's at $7.99. I won't forget it anytime soon, given the fact that it's numerically in a space that's easy to remember. But, you know, this is number 800, man. 800 entries. God knows if I counted correctly, I've miscounted more than once. So it's probably somewhere in the 800 range. I'm pretty sure if you'll find the error somewhere down there if you watch enough of these, if there is one. But it's kind of warm out here. It ain't overly hot, but the sun is beaming and ain't a whole lot of breeze. So I'm not in love with this weather like I was some of the others that have been in the past couple weeks. But overall, I just wanted to get out here and just see what the Lord has for me today, man. Maybe I can find something that works for me in regards to just, you know, finding a space from which to kind of think and figure out, plot my next move. Since my GR has now come in, I got to overcome old demons that ultimately get comfortable when circumstances don't have to be stressed over as much. It's the mental health aspect of my mindset that I would love to think has been worked out. So that's what it is. Hopefully I can go somewhere and just sit down and try to figure out where my links are, what my next moves would be. But you know, as I consider that, I realize the Holy Spirit is guiding everything that I've been through. When I kind of have Him first in my life, it's worked out whether I felt that I was needed to do more or felt like I needed to do less. He would put me in a position to not have as many regrets at all, so long as I put Him first. So that's kind of how I'm approaching this. It's like, yeah, I need to do this, and this. But what I really need to do is trust God to take care of this, and this. And through me, He will give me the right timing from which to do that, and that. Because a lot of times the enemy, through my urgency, will leave me stagnant in regards to doing that, and that. I need to do this, therefore you won't. I need to do that, therefore you probably ain't going to get it done. That's just how I've operated. That urgency, it's not coming from a place of self-love or God-love in a lot of cases. It's coming from, I need to meet the expectations of others. I need to meet the expectations of the world. I need to hurry up and do what it is that the math is telling me, when the math don't know much about much in regards to what's about to happen. It can tell you about patterns. It can measure things out. But it ain't going to ever tell you exactly what's next. For all I know, me going out the house looking for whatever I'm looking for will land me exactly where I need to be to apply for what I need to apply. And when you had that work out in your life enough times, you realize that working that way is the way to work. Not necessarily sitting up agonizing over what it is that you need to do and then just trying to jump over all the damn steps necessary. No, put God first. Tell Him what it is that you ultimately want to accomplish, and He'll tell you what you need to do to either get it done or otherwise tell you that He don't have no interest in you doing that. And when you trust Him, and from there you can get things done properly, that are custom for the circumstances that are real, not what you think it is, not what the math tells you. And so that's when I'm learning how to move in the Spirit, as I always do, and trusting Him to put me in a position to do exactly what it is He wants me to do, so that I'm not putting myself in a position to overwhelm myself with expectations that ultimately my mental health likely will not meet in the moment. And even that in and of itself can be a lock-in of negativity. But this is a training course, and I'm not expected to get it all right away. new concepts are coming to me to best apply my faith. And I'm letting the Lord show me how to love myself enough to find the balance between applying those new concepts and not holding myself accountable for always getting that correct. So that's really what it is. It's self-love that I'm learning to really accept in a different way. Just like my relationship with God has grown stronger and my faith has turned into a friendship with God. Now the next level of that is for him to show me how to love myself properly, how to trust him and use the example of him trusting me as a means of trusting him once again. So that's kind of what the Zigzag was about. But, I really feel good about where my life can go if I understand these concepts properly. And I'm really feeling great about the enemy not having as many bridges to cross and using my energy against me in terms of my love for others or what have you. In this case, it's been my friend Karen. It's like, okay, my love for her has made it so that I felt dependent on her, but that wasn't a filtered love through God. That was a love that I had gotten from God, but I never sent back to God to filter to her. So a lot of times I would give her energy she couldn't do nothing with, and I would get frustrated with that. Like, why you hit her up so much in her inbox? Because I wasn't filtering the energy I had from her through God a lot of the time. Now, when I did just stumble upon the process of doing things correctly, I often got the results I was hoping for. But when I didn't, I definitely got the results that most hurt me. And so that's what her absence has kind of forced me into understanding. And I think it was right. It was righteous that the Lord did it exactly the way he did it. So that I can learn how not to have obsessive energy in her inbox specifically, or more so being dependent on whether or not she was willing to show me the love that I ultimately was used to getting from her. It may not always be there for whatever set of good or bad reasons. The point is, we got to be able to independently stand alone. But you are not alone. You have God. And that's what essentially he was telling me this morning. Now, how receiving of that I am is still going to be worked out based on what it is that I'm learning about how to apply these new concepts. But the reality is, I will never need anybody else again because I got God to fulfill all that. And I know how that works in my life. Not just hearing other people say it in their lives, but knowing how that works for me. As to say, no, I don't need KT to hit me up this morning. Why? Because any energy that the Lord wants me to have for her, I can give to her by way of him. And any energy that she has for me, if it's any good, it came from him. So if I'm hitting her up unnecessarily and she gives me energy I don't like, it's because he didn't have that energy for her. The enemy had that energy for me, and that's why it went through her in a form of whatever way it did. You only want what God gives you. That's what I've come to understand. And you got to trust God loves you and loves himself enough to give you what it is that's going to make you thank him. Zigzag energy. That's what we're talking about. And loving yourself is just a reflection of you trying to be more like God because he loves himself. So when you have all that in your head consistently as I want to have it, I ain't never going to look at somebody else by way of habit saying, yo, I need them to give me what it is I need from them, or else I'm going to feel like they're attacking me for not giving it to me. Oh, that's where you went wrong in the first place. You don't need nothing from them. You need everything to be filtered through God. And then you realize that the energy that they give you that's good will come from him. And any energy that you otherwise are getting from them that ain't from him is likely going to be either setting you up to let you down or something that the enemy wants to use to attack you, to keep you from being successful in your life and whatever it is that you need to be doing, specifically in this warfare, attacking him. And that's what I have been doing. Every time I get on this camera, I'm saying something that's supposed to bring his concepts and what he's doing in this world to ruin. And as a result, he was using my love for Kay to hurt me. My dependency on her, he could always use as a bridge to reach me, to attack me for attacking him. Or attack me just because that's in his nature. But the point was, he had his attention on me because I was swinging at him, and I didn't know how to return the favor properly. But this is how you do it. I mean, I was waking up this morning thinking about all the different things I was thinking about, frustrated, this, that, and the third, meditated, got the understanding of Zigzag, and then from there, the Lord was helping me understand that this spiritual warfare is something that you can learn how to win your battles in this situation. You can win your battles. And how do you win those battles? By sending that energy to God so he can filter it and give it back to you as clean and as deadly to the enemy as possible. So in response to Karen's absence, my natural inclination without the Holy Spirit is to say, I'm angry at her. Let me speak badly upon her on this channel or whatever. Let me tell her about herself as much as it takes for her to block me. Let me say this, that, or whatever, wish bad, whatever type of energy that the enemy can use, because it's a spiritual warfare. It's not just you and somebody else. It's God, you, somebody else, and the enemy. And God and the enemy are fighting. So it's like, if you really want to win the battle and you want to be a good reflection upon that of which loves you, which is God, you ain't gonna forget that he's at battle at all times. You ain't gonna forget that when you engage in whatever it is you're engaging in with the person that's next to you, that y'all are both people that the Lord created to funnel energy toward one another and others. So when you have that as a forefront of your mind, keeping God first and understanding what he's involved in at all times, that he's under attack at all times, then you move a certain way as a person who's on his side versus people who may not be pointed at you in a positive way. For they are only pointed at you that way because of either your propensity to move in the ways of the enemy or theirs. In this case, both of ours, when we are using our pain as a means of getting out of one another's lives, or me getting more out of her than she can give me and her getting out of my life because that's how she feels she needs to protect herself. She needs to know the concept of zigzag zig so that she's not using her defensive mechanisms as a means of being weaponized by the enemy against me. And I need to learn how to use that zigzag energy as a means of, if for some reason she can't do that, not personalizing it, or as a means of making sure that I'm not giving her anything energy-wise that hasn't been filtered through the Lord. Zigzag energy, once again. So it's like, that's where that concept comes from, is just having gone through this with her and understanding that all of the different things that I do naturally in my mindset is never going to bring me to a space where I'm at peace or closer to that person. It's going to likely put me in a position to feel worse and likely make it so that our friendship or whatever it is that we would otherwise want to build when we do understand how to be on God's side more so, which is thus being on our own side and each other's side more so, it'll make it so that we won't even have that from which to stand on, because too much would have been said and done in a negative light that worked in the enemy's favor. So it's like you do spiritual warfare once again, and understanding that this is how you get back into the good graces of one another, by doing things that the enemy cannot use for which the Lord can use. If you want her to be back in your life, you're not going to do it by saying things that are going to make it so that she never want to talk to you again, or doing the same things that make her not want to be in your life. If she want to be somebody who I remember positively, she going to have to understand that doing things that ultimately hurt are going to make it so that she's a poor reflection upon herself in my eyes, and I'm not going to have good things to say about it, and not going to want to deal with her once I get to a place of strength from which to work away from her. So it's like, these are the concepts that need to come to both of us for us to understand that we got to get closer to God. It's like the Lord told me, her demons hate you, her angels adore you. If she gets rid of those demons, she'll never ignore you. And that concept is fulfilled within my understanding. She needs to work out her demons just like I got to work out mine. And in a sense, we have different demons, but they're pointed in such a way that's supposed to hurt that of what God has created. Hurt me in the sense of her absence and her blocking me and doing all this different stuff without filtering that through the Lord for which to know. She would know why she should do it a different way, or maybe do it exactly the way she is. Maybe that's the exact thing the Lord wanted her to do. But the point is, you got to filter it through God. And for me, as I said, making sure that I send the energy that I need to back to God when he sends me a notion that I should be reaching out to her, so that the energy that I'm giving her ain't something she can't do nothing with, or something that she gonna look at as offensive. And so this is what it is, to be more positive in nature. Not only positive as in positive thinking, but positive as in certain that you can rely upon the faith that you're gonna get what it is you're supposed to have in regards to applying that faith. So that's what I've learned. And you put yourself in a position to love God more, you don't find yourself in a space where you don't want to please him or honor him in a way that ultimately reflects positively upon yourself. You're going to want to do that to honor him. You're going to help yourself to the reality of good energy. and what that can do for the betterment of whatever your friendships, relationships, or business aspects are. So that's really what it is. That's the concept. That's what I've come to learn, and I need to incorporate that into my life on my end, and not try to then push this concept onto her in unnecessary reach outs for which she don't want, but to trust God will get her that message on his own time. And if he wants me to be the vessel from which that message comes from, he will compel that through that zigzag process. So that's really what it is, man. That's what I come to understand. I ain't got to reach out to her. She don't want me to reach out to her. But if I keep on doing things the right way through God, I'll either get the reach outs that I'm looking for on her end, or I will be able to be strong enough to live without her for the rest of my life, if that's what it's required, for the Lord to have his will be done. But one thing's for certain, if you work in the enemy's favor, he gonna definitely do what it is that you otherwise wouldn't favor. He gonna definitely do what it is that you don't want. And that's what doing things the wrong way is taught me. So I guess I'll call this Zigzag Part 2, BDF 44. Thank y'all for watching.